The name of the movie Frozen Empire arrives at the Manhattan Adventurers Society because of a room that is expelling a lot of smoke. However, when the firefighters arrive, the smoke is sucked back inside. One of the men touches the door and his hand begins to freeze, so his partners have to pull him away. Then the firefighters break the door down and are shocked to find dozens of frozen corpses and ice everywhere while an unknown language plays from a phonograph. Among the ice spikes, a mysterious figure in armor holds and have moved to New York from Somerville to become full-time Ghostbusters. Callie is the daughter of one of the old Ghostbuster team members, so it's become a family business. A terrifying ghost has escaped from the sewer and is causing trouble all over Manhattan, so the new team starts chasing it. In the car as it hits other vehicles with manhole covers, a special seat is pulled out so Phoebe can shoot the proton blaster at the ghost, but the driving causes her to miss a lot and her shots end up damaging various buildings. Once they're close enough, Trevor releases a remote-controlled trap, but this is still not enough to catch the ghost. Is the same office the old Ghostbusters used to work in. Remembering the mayor's threats, Callie and Gary decide that Phoebe should have a normal life and is kicked out of the team. Phoebe doesn't take it well, but her complaints are ignored. Then, Gary and Callie put the ghost in their containment unit, which takes more effort than usual, but they don't know why. Thankfully, the light turns green, meaning the ghost is successfully contained. Meanwhile, Ray from the old Ghostbuster team and podcast have an online show. Using an horoscope, they measure the spiritual energy of everyday objects. Winston also informs them that the blast that caused the earthquake created a rift which could potentially act as a gateway to the other side. Since obviously this building won't hold for long, Winston takes the team to a secret lab where he's keeping the Paranormal Research Center. All kinds of scientists gather here to study supernatural phenomena. Trevor gets to reunite with his friend, Lucky, who is working there as well. Whenever Ray finds an item with supernatural energy, he sends it to the lab, and Lars puts them in a machine that separates the ghost from the object. Using the original design as a guide, they've also built a bigger container unit, so they'll have to start moving the ghosts from headquarters by bringing them with traps. Not all the ghosts are kept in the unit, some of them are in special cells for further study. Phoebe is freaked out by a skull while Gary and Callie step back when a ghost pukes at the glass. There's also a possessor that likes jumping from device to device. Later in the evening, the team gets another mission and leaves, without Phoebe again. At that moment a second emergency call comes in, so Phoebe and podcast go to take care of it behind the adults' backs. They make it to a restaurant and discover the ghost is Melody, so Phoebe doesn't dare to shoot. Melody immediately escapes and Phoebe reacts too late, causing the windows to break. Meanwhile Lucky are working with Ray's objects. When it's the orb's turn, all the ghosts in the cells feel rather disturbed. The machine fails to remove the spirit and suddenly the lab a trap in the attic and covers it with junk food. Before hiding with a proton blaster ready, Slimer comes out to eat, but before Trevor can shoot it, another earthquake hits the city. The team rushes to the containment unit and finds a huge hole in the wall plus frost all over the place. Afterward, Lars shows the orb to the Marshmallow Man, who feel so attracted to it that they splash against the window. Apparently the orb can mind control ghosts. It also freezes certain devices when it gets too close. Desperate for more information, Lucky, Trevor, and Lars go to see Nadim, who Lars realizes that everything in the room is made out of brass, which can trap ghosts. When the trio uses the horoscope on Nadim, there's a strong reaction, so they bring him to the lab with them. After connecting Nadim to a machine, former Ghostbuster Peter starts asking some strange questions. Suddenly he throws a pen at Nadim, who gets angry and causes a nearby flame to grow bigger. Video. Suddenly the cylinder starts shaking and jumps out of the machine to land in a trash bag, which starts going crazy around the library. The team starts following it, and when Ray walks among the shelves, he's blocked by the same library ghost from the 80s. The group follows the ghost outside and finds it resting on the lion statue. Ray tries to reach for it, but suddenly the lion starts moving because the ghost left the bag to possess the statue instead. As people run away in panic, Phoebe gets a proton blaster from the bike and shoots the lion, causing it to explode. Moments later, Peck announces that he's shutting down the Ghostbusters, which has been his wish since the old days. Temporarily separate her soul from her body. The procedure works, but Melody apologizes and looks sad. It turns out she's working for Garaka, who can't control living beings, only ghosts. Since he needs a living person to open the orb, now he can control Phoebe's ghost to make her say the words. The ghost is still connected to her body, so it repeats the words as well, and the orb begins opening. At that moment, Lucky shows up and tries to fire a proton blast at Garaka, but he quickly freezes and shatters the stream before disappearing. While the rest of the team comes to free Phoebe, Garaka enters the shop in Nadim's building and freezes the clerk to death. Then he makes his way to Nadim's apartment, where he retrieves his shirts. As soon as he puts them on, he regains his true form and all his power. Soon a dark cloud appears over the city and starts freezing the whole area, causing ice spikes to appear. Fortunately, Lars has some equipment in his van, so the team starts getting ready to fight while Lucky points out their weapons won't be enough. Considering what happened in the lab, Phoebe remembers that brass can trap ghosts and the orb was made with it, so she starts melting some brass to reinforce her blaster. On the roof, Trevor and Lucky see a tricycle rolling on its own on the deserted street, so they guess it's the possessor ghost that escaped from the lab and rush back inside. As the storm outside gets worse, the tricycle hits the door, causing it to blow. Lars goes into another room because he heard a noise, but it's one of the little ghosts from the lab, who shoots goo at his face. The red light soon leaves the car by possessing a paper plane, then it jumps into covering the headquarters building. Phoebe goes to the unit room and finds Melody, who swears she didn't want to hurt anybody, and furious, Phoebe makes her see that nobody can help her move on. Melody has to find it in herself. Then Garaka finally arrives and blocks the front door with more ice spikes. As the building starts shaking and coming apart, the Ghostbusters shoot all their proton blasters at the same time, but Garaka freezes all the streams in seconds. Suddenly, Nadim appears wearing the Firemaster armor and tries to use the lighter to summon a flame, but it's not working because he used all the fluid in training. Garaka grabs the lighter and destroys it before shooting a blast that creates a chasm in the floor and traps everyone with more ice spikes. Then Garaka says an incantation to release all the ghosts from the unit, which makes a huge energy blast to shoot up into the sky. All the ghosts from the unit escape and start terrorizing the city. But Phoebe can't see Melody anymore. She rushes upstairs and fires her blaster at Garaka, who can't freeze this reinforced energy, so he shoots frost at Phoebe instead. The girl instantly freezes and Garaka tries to extract her soul, but at that moment Melody reappears and lights her last match. Now Nadim can create a fireball that he shoots at Garaka, and the strong heat melts the ice in the room, releasing everyone. Phoebe shoots her blaster again and has trouble standing still with so much power in her hands, so her family helps her hold it, while the combined effort of the reinforced blast and Nadim's fireball overpower Garaka. Podcast rushes to the car and releases the drone trap. However, the Marshmallow Men have also escaped the lab and mess with him, causing him to lose control of the trap and allowing Garaka to knock it down. The older Ghostbusters realize that since Garaka released all the ghosts, the containment unit is now empty. They run to the basement to activate it, and thanks to everyone working together, Garaka is dragged into the unit and the light turns green, confirming the bad guy has been successfully sealed. Afterward, Melody gives Phoebe her matchbox and says goodbye, before finally moving on. The team comes out and discovers all the ice has melted. Perk appears to try to scold them again, but all the locals are showing their support and Perk has no choice but to play along, allowing the Ghostbusters to function for now. Now all the ghosts that Garaka released are loose in the city, so the team jumps back into action to start cleaning. On their way out, Phoebe calls Gary Dad for the first time. Some time later, when a truck driver stops at a gas station, the Marshmallow Men use the chance to steal away his vehicle.